Say that you are interviewing for a position and the interviewer does not give any facial expressions. You are more likely to feel nervous or unstable with your interview process. Also, if the interviewer gives expressions that show signs of encouragement, then you are more likely to feel less pressure and more relaxed with the interview process. I want to pursue the aspect if you can actually change the way that an interviewee performs and does in the interview. This could be a major factor as to why some people are selected for a position over others. When it comes to interviews, many people make a conscious judgment about the interviewee as soon as they walk into the room. I would like to interview people about their social media conversations and try to alter their answers and mood by changing my facial expressions and also my tone of voice. I will do 3 different test bays, with one being no facial expressions, another group with only positive feedback and positive facial expressions, and finally I will respond with negative feedback and negative facial expressions and record all of their responses. The purpose of the study is to determine if facial expressions can alter the interview process. If this is true, then there may be a way to make interviews less biased in order to allow both the company and the interviewee to show the best attributes without bias. This can lead to companies finding employees that are best for the job without having bias with an interviewee that does not interview well. I will use a small research base in order to determine if people can in fact be swayed by facial expressions and feedback. The rest of the data will be collected from a survey questionnaire that will prove the research base right or wrong. In my findings, I was able to discover that positive feedback does in fact lead to a smoother conversation and also a better interview process. When I gave negative feedback and negative facial expressions, it tended to be very uptight and an awkward conversation about anything that we were talking about in the interview process. When I gave no facial features and no expressions, it tended to also lead to negative and uptight conversations with the interview process. From the research that I did, I found that facial expressions could control the outcome of an interview. If the interviewer gives positive feedback, then the outcome tends to be positive. Also, if the interviewer gives negative feedback, then the interview tends to have a negative outcome. As an interviewer, you need to make sure that you are not biased toward interviewers. If you are, you could change the outcome of the interview and miss out on a good employee. If you are the interviewer, you need to not let the interviewee control the outcome of the interview with facial expressions as well. If the interviewer is giving positive feedback, you need to also give positive feedback in order to make sure that the interview continues to go well. And if your interviewer is giving negative facial expressions, you need to do your best to give positive feedback in order to try and change the outcome of the interview. Overall, I thought this research was rather interesting, and it changed my aspect as to how I took on interviews and the way the interview process is sometimes going. It's always best to have a good presence about yourself when you walk into a door. Tending to open with a smile tends to send the conversation into a better positive feedback, as towards just coming in with a grim face and no facial expressions tend to lead to a negative conversation. Thank you for viewing my post, and goodbye.